When leaders hear the phrase zero defects, they usually think discipline. W. Edwards Deming heard something else. He heard management asking people to deliver perfect results from an imperfect system. It matters because many organizations still respond to errors, bugs, and delays the same way. Set a tougher target, apply more pressure, and hope effort will close the gap. It rarely does. More often, it drives fear and distortion. Deming did not object to better quality. He objected to the habit of demanding outcomes the system itself could not reliably produce. A leader can want fewer failures and safer work, but if the response is a slogan, a quota, or a campaign, the organization may end up managing appearances instead of improving method. That is easy to miss because slogans sound serious. They sound committed. But Deming's real question was always simpler and harder at the same time. By what method? North Star Flow sold workflow software to mid-sized manufacturers. The last 3 releases had created trouble. Customers were reporting bugs that should have been caught earlier. Support tickets were piling up. Sales was nervous. The executive team felt pressure to prove control. At the Monday leadership meeting, the COO wrote 4 words on the whiteboard: zero defects, next release. The phrase landed well at first. It sounded decisive. Within a week, dashboards appeared. Teams were compared by escaped defects. Release reviews became tense. Product managers defended requirement changes. Engineers argued over whether a bug was really a bug. Testers spent more time debating the count than improving what they were learning.
We cannot do another release like the last one. Customers are tired of hearing that we are fixing it in the next patch.
I agree, but the board on the wall is changing behavior. People are protecting the number.
Maya led product. Daniel led engineering. Neither of them wanted lower standards. What bothered Daniel was that the system had not become more capable. Requirements were still changing late. Test environments were inconsistent. Critical handoffs between product, engineering, and support were still rushed. Now the organization had a new target and a new source of fear. At the next review, a team delayed logging a defect until after a release decision because no one wanted another mark against the group. Another team pushed back on a customer-reported issue as configuration-related until support escalated it twice. The visible defect count looked a little better. The customer experience did not. Deming warned directly against this kind of move. Eliminate slogans, exhortations, and targets for the workforce, asking for zero defects and new levels of productivity.
So what do we say instead? We can't just tell the company that bugs are acceptable.
We're not saying bugs are acceptable. We're saying slogans are not a method. Then we fix the system that keeps producing the same surprises.
That shifted the conversation. Maya and Daniel stopped asking which team had embarrassed the company and started asking which conditions made escape likely. They traced the pattern. Late requirement changes were entering sprint work without a reliable review path. Automated regression coverage was uneven across older modules. Support learned about release risk after the decision, not before it. They started with 3 changes. No release would be judged by a single defect number. Every release candidate needed a cross-functional review of requirement changes, test coverage risk, and known support exposure. Product and engineering would review escape defects together each week, not to assign blame, but to separate common patterns from one-off events. And the release calendar would leave room to learn before customer impact became public. The next release was not perfect, but it was calmer. Fewer issues escaped. The issues that did appear were easier to trace. Support was prepared. Customers heard a clearer explanation. Trust began to recover because the company looked less frantic and more competent.
We finally look more serious now that we stopped promising perfection.
because now we are improving the work, not just demanding a result.
That is the lesson. When leaders stop treating quality as a slogan and start treating it as a property of the system, better performance becomes more likely and, over time, more dependable. That kind of dependability is hard to copy. If you lead people, resist the temptation to make quality visible by making it theatrical. A zero defects banner, an injury-free counter, or a defect target can create the feeling of action without creating new capability. The number may move for a while, the system often does not. A better question is, what conditions are producing this result again and again? That shifts attention from individual blame to management responsibility. It also helps you distinguish between a special cause that needs immediate intervention and a common pattern that needs redesign. That means looking at the work as a system. How do requirements enter? Where do handoffs fail? What does the team learn too late? Which definitions change from group to group? What pressure causes people to delay bad news instead of improving the work? This is also why leaders should be careful with incentives. If a target can be met by hiding, deferring, reclassifying, or shifting the problem somewhere else, someone in the system will find that path. Not because people are bad, but because the system taught them what matters. The practical leadership move is not to lower standards. It is to replace slogans with method, pressure with learning, and inspection of people with improvement of the conditions they work in. When that happens, quality improves in a way customers can feel, and the organization becomes steadier, more trusted, and stronger over time. Deming's point was never that defects do not matter. His point was that demanding perfection is not the same as building capability. And even when defect counts go down, leadership still has to improve the whole system in ways customers can feel. As Deming put it, no defects, no jobs can go together. Something other than zero defects is required. What is required is better leadership, clearer method, better cooperation, and steady improvement in the work itself. That is how quality becomes real and how a better system creates a better future.